Hold up, look, check it. Sorry I ain't end up a college kid. Stood on the corner with the problem kids. Wish I could show my brother how to live. This ain't the way, bro, do the opposite. At night I pray, hope we get out of this. Ain't tryna play no hot ass block with Knicks. I'm tryna hit an outlet, caught some kicks. Push the brake up in that Audi and then watch it drift. Hey yo, but look, on the real though, you something I kill for. And once I hit 2 mil, we watching the mail blow.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Respect Your Passion. I just want to start off this segment by saying, like usual, thank you to everybody that's been liking, subscribing, following, sharing, reposting. Everything we're gonna keep getting top-notch quality. We're gonna keep improving and just getting better and giving y'all the best high-level conversations. I actually bought equipment to like improve the quality, the sound quality. I had bought headphones, but I didn't really look in too much into it. Open up the box, it was just headphones and a mic, no wiring, no nothing. But we're gonna get that situated for the next episode. We also gonna get you better visuals, in-person visuals, and things of that nature. But appreciate everybody that's been supporting. But on this segment, I appreciate Ashley Duran, who is a phenomenal human being, before anything else, for joining us. She's actually going to be the first woman to interview on my podcast. I felt she should be the perfect person for it because she's always positive, always uplifting others. There's a couple things that I wanted to get familiar with that she does that I have no background knowledge on it. So I'm going to learn just as much as you guys learn. I feel like she'll be a positive role model for any young ladies that's watching this. She has a great story, and we just gonna get right into it. So thank you, Ashley, for joining us. Can you introduce yourself? I already introduced you, but just speak on who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you, Jonathan, for that introduction. My name is Ashley Duran. I'm a mother to a 12-year-old boy. And currently, I'm a project manager for an adolescent health program with the hospitals in New York City. And I also host a youth leadership council within that program where I get to work on youth on like advocacy, awareness, and building leadership skills with them. So that's pretty cool. And then I also am a birth and postpartum doula, which I provide physical and emotional support as well as like guidance with advocacy and a lot of information on like birth and postpartum things to birthing people. And then lastly, I would say like I pride myself of being a mental health advocate and excuse me, social justice advocate. In all the work that I do and all the conversations that I have, I feel like those are the two views that I really lead with. So yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of who I am.
Let's get straight into it because I feel like a lot of dudes are just like me that don't know what a doula is. What is a doula? How did you get into it? And how can people benefit from doulas?
Yeah, so a doula is basically a support person. You can be a doula for uh, different reasons. You could be a grief doula, you can be a birth doula, postpartum, as I mentioned that I am earlier. So yeah, and with providing support during birth and postpartum, specifically, I'm providing a lot of support around like physical. So that means like any type of physical support that can help ease labor, and like any type of aches and pains throughout pregnancy as well. Emotional support because labor is very emotionally intensive. So providing that reassurance, that uh, just yeah reassurance and just a lot of emotional guidance as well, and just to be able to check in and remind the client to check in with yourself as well, and to also give you like tools and resources, to be able to handle anything that comes up emotionally during labor as well. um, and in terms of advocacy, so I would say that doulas definitely don't advocate for you, but we definitely provide information on how you can advocate for yourself in uncomfortable situation and spaces. Um, and we provide just a lot of evidence-based information. So I've learned that through the labor and just through the pregnancy and postpartum journey, there's a lot of things, especially for first-time parents, that you really don't know, and it's not really until you actually do the research or you have someone that actually knows, that can be able to provide you with that information. So lots of information that you don't even think that you would even need, that would be helpful just to prepare you, just so that you can feel more comfortable in the journey. So that's pretty much what a doula is. And we provide that type of support, as I said, through birth, pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And postpartum, it looks a little different because, like, in terms of like the physical support, it's still there's still pain in postpartum, right? Because you're still healing, and your body's still readjusting and kind of getting back to normal, right? So kind of providing that also physical comfort in that way. Any type of emotional things that come up in postpartum, same thing, and also advocating for your continued health during postpartum as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much what a doula is. People can benefit from a doula, especially I would say in a hospital setting, because hospitals don't do a good job of just making just providing informed decision and evidence-based information for patients to make their own decision. You know, a lot of the conversations, a lot of the ways in which hospitals they interact with families on the pregnancy journey and going through preparing for labor, it's a lot of scare tactics, or just fear, like a lot of conversation around fear to kind of get you to give in to certain recommendations that they're giving you. And that's why the doula is a great, additive, because you have that support person, you have that person that has all that knowledge, all that information, to say like, wait, I can provide you with another alternative. Because I mean, to in my opinion, and in what I believe in and what I have seen, the hospital is a business, and so they, especially in this birth and in this birth world, they typically try to provide care with around the knowledge of, yes, they, because I also don't want to say, don't want to send the message that like doctors don't care, right? Like doctors aren't doing their job, or they're caring more about the money, or the that. But I will say that the way that the policies are made in hospitals, it's more so to, excuse me, to benefit the dollar than the person, because there's still evidence-based information that's provided, that the hospital, and sorry, there's still protocols that the hospital does that is no longer needed, even though there's evidence-based information, just because it takes so long to change policies in these big systems. So that's why it's important. I would say one of the biggest aspects of having a doula for me in this birthing time that we have right now, because Black and brown moms are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in a hospital. It's dangerous to give birth in a hospital. Like, it's coming to the point where, for people of color, like, it's dangerous to give birth in the hospital. It's dangerous. If you come in contact, if you are getting care from a provider who isn't really providing the best care, so that's why it's really important, that when you embark on your pregnancy journey, to really look at all the information and the resources and the statistics of what it is to give birth in the hospital, and the cesareans, and the deaths of mothers, the deaths of the babies, because those are the things that's going to give you the story of how the hospital actually provides care, and I would say for myself, like, I got pregnant when I was 17, had my baby at 18. And even though I didn't have the words to know what a doula was, I know that that's what I wanted. I know that I needed an extra support person to give me that physical, emotional support and information, and also to advocate for myself, because I was a teenager, pregnant, and all the doctors that I came in contact with looked at me crazy. They looked at me crazy because I was pregnant, at 17 years old. And I'm sure I looked even younger than I already was, but still, like, it was my whole entire pregnancy experience, and laboring in the hospital and postpartum in the hospital system was not pleasant, and there were a lot of situations that I went through that, if I would have had an extra person that had that additional support, things would have gone way differently for me, and my son. Um, so yeah.
So it's safe to say that pretty much your past experience led you to embark in this journey. How long you been doing it?
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing birth work now for 3 years. I actually just completed my fourth birth, which was amazing because she actually, was able to follow through as much as she could with her birth plan, as well as her doctor, her nurses, and so everyone was like on board and really supportive, and that was a really like great birth. I've had other births where there was just some tension between like myself and the nurses, because a lot of the times they feel like doulas overstep their are like trying to take over their job or overstepping their job, right? But the thing is that we're just there to support mom, the same way nurses, the same way doctor is. And so, like, if you really were doing your job correctly, then why would you feel threatened by just another support person, right? And so, but a lot of the times it's because we have a lot of knowledge around evidence-based information, like what, other options that they're typically not offering, but yeah, so getting, having the experience of getting pregnant at 17, and um having my baby at 18, and going through a whole bunch of doctor visits and not having a pleasant experience in the hospital system, and learning that Black moms are 4 times more likely to die, um, and just people of color in general just are much more likely to have negative experiences within the hospital system, overall. And when I learned about this program from Ancient Song, doula services, of this doula program, and they provided the doula program with a reproductive justice lens. And as like I mentioned, like reproductive
What?
justice,
Can you say that? A reproductive justice? What is that?
justice, yeah. So basically, justice around reproductive and like any type of reproductive topic, right? And birth is one of them. So any like menstrual, anything that has to really do with the uterus, is reproductive, is reproductive, right? And so they had a program for doula, with that reproductive justice lens, and that gave me additional information of how to be able to advocate in these hospital settings, with my birthing moms, because the community that I want to serve is my community, right? Like Black, brown, people of color. These are the people that unfortunately don't have access to the doula services, for a million of reasons, but also they don't even have the knowledge to know that, like, how important and how impactful doula is. Insurances don't cover it, even though we are moving in the direction of insurances to covering, because the statistics continue to prove that literally having a doula reduces your risk of a cesarean. It increases your risk of labor starting on its own. um, it increases your risk of like breastfeeding, like more support with breastfeeding. It just increases your risk for not risk, it increases so many things, right? And decreases a lot of risk. So the importance of having a doula, the insurances are definitely getting on board with the importance of having a doula, and now it's up to the states to pick up like the policy for insurances to actually start implementing it. um, but yeah, I think, this is something that's very important because, as I mentioned, as I continue to mention, just black moms are three times more likely. Like, yo, when I found that out, I was like, nah, there's no way. Like, there's no way that I can continue just doing the work and then also having my experience, hearing about other people's experiences, and then just navigating the healthcare system as a whole as a colored person just has not been pleasant. And I was just like, yeah, like this is something I definitely have to do. And I went into it solely off my passion. Like, I didn't go into it to make money. I didn't go into it to, like, I really just went to it because I saw a need, and I just went full in. And now I'm forever in birth work stuff.
Where can they reach you if they need additional resources or if they wanted to utilize your services?
Yeah, so I actually just started my doula business. It's called Sacred Labor of Love. And I'm excited because this is my first like official LLC. And as I mentioned, I didn't go into this for the money, right? But everything comes at a price because my time is there's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy that goes behind this. And so for folks that can pay, like, I definitely, would want that exchange, right? But I'm definitely providing services for folks who cannot pay. My plan is to provide a sliding scale, to give folks, that leverage, because we do have people in the community that can afford it and that do want to honor doulas and have that exchange. Like, I've had many conversations with folks who are already like, Ashley, when I get pregnant, like, my last mom, like, she, in the beginning of the journey, when I told her that I was gonna be a doula, she was like, when I get pregnant, you're gonna be my doula. And sure enough, when she was 6 7 months, she called me up, and that's how, we got it popping. So yeah, so I definitely plan on, providing a sliding scale, for, folks who have different economic backgrounds. And I definitely plan on providing like free services, barter services, but just different ways, for an exchange of energy, information, of support, because every birth that I attend, there's so much that's given back to me, and every time I'm able to give support, I'm able to give information and just teach new things. Like, it gives me so much too. So every exchange that I have with the client, there's a lot that's happening. Um, so yeah.
I appreciate all that information. I had no knowledge on doula work or what doulas were or even if that existed. Um, so a portion of what you do is pretty much emotional support to a mother, and you also spoke on like being a mental health advocate. I like to ask all my guests how are they feeling currently. How is their current mental health? How is their state of mind at the current time? So how you feeling, Ashley?
Thank
I know
you
I
for
know people I know people want to support everybody else, but sometimes that gets overwhelming and that brings you down trying to save the world. So
Yeah, man, like, it's interesting, that we're having this conversation now, because I've been having this conversation with myself like these past 2 days too, of just because I actually just attended my fourth birth on Friday night till Saturday morning. And it was about, I got to the hospital maybe at like 10, and then I left at 7 in the morning. Now, mind you, I didn't sleep like, so I didn't sleep a whole 24 hours. So I say all that to say, like, birth is really exhausting, right? And there's a lot of checking in with yourself. And also when you're providing support to another person, there's a lot of checking in with yourself, right? And I'm a big um, cheerleader for therapy and for healing, because of how important and how impactful it has been in my life and in my parenting, in my ability to show up as a mother. When I, decided to have my baby at 18, like that really shifted my mind and made me um, put into perspective the importance of mental health. And so, I do that. I've been going to therapy now for 2 years. I do therapy weekly, and that's very, very helpful. And so, yeah, I mean, today, honestly, I woke up sad. But like I said, like checking in with yourself, right? Because I was able to check in with myself and I said, what do I need, right? I'm gonna turn some music on and I'm gonna clean, and I'm sure that's gonna make you feel better. And if it doesn't, then we'll figure it out. And that's exactly what I did before I hopped on here, and it made me feel better, um, after going through this birth, and and even after I came home from the birth too, like I had to check in with myself, like, Ashley, I know you're tired, but can you go to this Lego event and then sleep after? Or, how can you support yourself to get through this Lego event, and, take care of yourself afterwards? You know what I'm saying? But so I say all that to say, like, right now, I'm good. I'm good because I have a lot of tools and resources to support me and help me. Every day I don't wake up all peaches and cream. Every day I'm not like, let's let's go. Life is amazing.
Mhm.
But I'm really like good because I have so much shit that like supports me. Can I curse? I could
Yeah,
curse.
you can say
Okay.
whatever you want to say.
um I just have so many things that support me, like when I'm down, when I'm frustrated, when I'm mad, like whether it's reading, writing, meditating, drinking an herbal tea to support my mood. Like there's just so many things that I have in my backpack that really do help and support me. So, including therapy, like I'm telling everybody, go therapy.
I might have to. I might have to. Honestly, I got this big ego that's like, oh, I don't need therapy. I could get through it myself, and I never tried it, but I'm definitely gonna try it one of these days. Just to speak on my truth to somebody that doesn't know me.
The thing is like, it's I don't know. I feel like everybody's reasoning for not attending therapy is different, right? But the at the core or at the baseline of therapy, like everybody have all these ideas of what therapy is, but therapy is literally talking to another person who just has additional skill sets to guide you through difficult situations. And when you put it as simple as that, it's like, okay, it's not that bad. Like I'm just gonna talk to someone who just has additional knowledge and like tools and information that can help me through difficult conversations, difficult situations, difficult, and it sounds mad simple, but it's not.
Mhm.
But I mean, when you put it that simple, it sounds sweet and nice. It sounds, yeah.
I mean that I think the title is what scares me because therapy you automatically get shifted to the negative aspect of people that go to therapy and things of that nature. So I'm like, damn, I don't need therapy. I'm good. I'm good, and I try to like channel my energy into something else that could help me heal. But maybe I do need therapy. Maybe therapy could be beneficial to me. I don't know. Maybe the next time we get back together on this podcast, I'll speak on me going to therapy and how it helped me.
Yes, your first therapy session.
Or what are some of the obstacles that you went through that got you to where you at today? Because I've seen the transition from like I don't know how old we were when we first met, but it was
I would
pretty
say
young.
like 13. I would say it was mad
13 when we
young.
first met?
13,
Really?
14.
Wow. Yeah, so I seen the transition of like who you were then and then who you are now. Like what are some of the obstacles that helped you become who you are today?
Um, well, as I mentioned earlier, I would definitely say having my son just shifted a lot of things for me. Uh, I, having him made me understand and learn and just really shift my perspective on not wanting to. pass down the negative things that happened to me, and so that required me having to heal, that required me having to um do things differently, right? Like, I was raised in a household where there, in many households, because there, it wasn't just like my mom raised me, right? Like, I was, with my mom and family members, cousins, aunts, right? But in many situations, even in school, right, like, there I have just been through unpleasant situations. And so getting pregnant just made me realize, like, I now have another child, another person to take care of. I have, things that I need to instill in him. I have, um, you know, I have tools and resources that I need to instill in him, right? Like, I have information that I need to share to him, like all these different things that it like made it clicked for me, like, oh snap, like, you're about to be in charge, or responsible for a whole nother person. And that's when I was like, I don't want to be like the people that I saw growing up. I want to teach better things. I want to instill better things. And so that's when my healing began. I started with like books, classes, everything that you can possibly think of when it came to healing, and just like being more in tune with my spirituality, because I knew that I needed to be a better person so that I can show up for him in a better way. I knew that the way that I was raised wasn't it. I knew that that cycle needed to stop. And it was up to me. It was either I can continue the cycle or I can do something about it and stop it. Um, and that's what I did, and with that came a lot of just making sure that I'm beginning my healing journey, um and prioritizing my self-love, prioritizing um what I need to do to show up and be a better person, to be a better mother, right? Acknowledging when I'm not my best self. Because when I'm not my best self, I can't show up and be my best self, right? Like, I can't give you 100% if my cup isn't full. Um, and that's the other thing about mothering. Like, you got to give whatever you got, whether that's 25%, 50%, whatever you got. And I think that's where mothers build such amazing, like, high resilience, right? Because we literally have to take care of another human being no matter what. Um and so that's where, like, the tools and the resources come in, because if I gotta do this no matter what, I have to have something to support me. I have to have something to help me. Because if not, I'm just gonna be a miserable, frustrated, angry person, projecting that back onto my child, right? And then the cycle continues. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's kind of where it started. Really just getting pregnant and realizing, like, I have this responsibility to take care of this human being. And I didn't want to make the same, mistakes that unfortunately my parents made, my grandparents made. And also understanding that, like, they made those mistakes because they didn't know any better, right? Like, they didn't know any better. I was blessed to have access to the internet, to people, to different perspectives, to ideas that kind of, shifted in something in me, like, no, this isn't right, you know? Like, my aunt actually, my first book that really blew, like, just changed so much for me was, which I'm gonna put the plug in now. Everybody should go get this book, All About Love by Bell Hooks. That was the very, 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 very first book that made me realize that everything that I saw around me was dysfunctional. Everything in school, and not everything. I don't want to say everything, but a lot of um, relationships, a lot of situations were very dysfunctional. But we labeled them as love. We labeled them as care. We labeled them as um, positive things when they weren't, right? But when you look at like other people's household or upbringing or relationships, you start to think like, oh no, this is we thought this was normal, but it's really not. you know so that book, my aunt gave me that book, and that book really, really, really just changed my life, changed my perspective, and made me realize that the things that I thought was love, care, affection, and all these things was not. It was dysfunction. And unfortunately, it's a lot of the times it's not even because people are intentionally want to create that dysfunction. It's literally because they don't know any better. And it's if you get to the point where you can know better, but you choose not to, then like and that's where I was at that point where it's like you can make that decision to choose not to do something about it, or you can, and they obviously have two different consequences, outlooks, right? And for me, like, it's not easy. Like um it's not easy checking with yourself every day. It's not easy, like, putting your mental health at the forefront, like, um you know going through life, like, prioritizing these, using these skills and these tools. Like, sometimes I don't want to fucking do shit. Like, sometimes I don't want to use the things that I've learned. Like, sometimes I want to revert to the negative, the bad, because it's easy, right? But it what the healing brings is peace, and I would take peace over anything else. That's where I could say is like, now I could say I'm finally at peace. Like, even though I go through my mental health stuff, and every day is not peaches and creams, like, there's still a lot of peace, because I'm at peace within myself, within the decisions I've made to get to me where I am right now, um, with my work, with my mothering. Like, I'm at peace with my relationships, with my friends, like my family. Like, I'm at peace. And chaos is always gonna exist. Disruption, dysfunction is always gonna exist. Um, like, the world, like, we're in this shit every single day. You know, it's really just finding your network of people, finding your support person, your support people, and having that backpack of tools and resources to support you whenever you do feel, frustrated, mad, or any type of thing that's just not letting you progress, like, move on, go forward.
I mean, we 30 minutes in, and I'm not gonna lie, you're inspiring me with some of the things that you've spoken on so far. I know you've been an inspiration to your son. He probably looks you're the ultimate role model for your son, and I know that was your purpose moving forward. But who inspires you, or who
Um,
inspired you?
I would definitely say my aunt too. Growing up, she was definitely one of the. She dragged me with her to all the protests. Um, she just was the one that really instilled a lot of different perspective, than what I was used to. And I know I'm grateful for that, because if I didn't have that, I don't know how much longer it would have took me to find the the information that I needed to find to begin my healing journey. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, my aunt is the one that really inspired me and just laid the foundation and the groundwork to, instill some really valuable knowledge and wisdom for me to be a better person, to become, a better parent, a better mother, a better sister, um, and all those things.
Shout out to Auntie. Shout out to Auntie.
Shout out to my auntie.
I got a question. I know this is a little off topic, but I seen you like you post multiple times with a sound bowl. What is that? And like, what is the
Yeah,
purpose of that?
a singing bowl. So those are actually one of the things. I'm sorry, I live in Harlem. Those are one of the things that I actually just got into kind of randomly. I got it as a gift, and all I knew was that like before I got it, was that it helps to like calm you. And then once I got it, um, and I started like actually practicing it with myself and actually doing meditation, it actually really it helps you to focus when you're meditating, and it helps to further calm yourself too. And it actually, like, I did even further research about it, and it actually carries sound waves. So there's different waves that, and I can't, don't know like the words right now. I think there's like beta,
Mm.
alpha, other waves. Um, but the wave that the sound bowl provides is actually the same waves that are in our brains when we're sleeping. So it provides that type of calmness. So, where you're kind of like really in a sedative state. Um, you have to do it for a while to kind of get there, but just to know that it can get you to that state of calmness it's an instrument. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really beautiful. So yeah, I really use it when I'm like really really stressed and really need to kind of ground myself, and um or I have a lot of anxiety. I'll really use that to kind of help ground and calm myself. um but yeah,
Yeah,
everybody. What were you gonna say?
I wanted to get on here to ask you that because it looked interesting. I didn't know what it was, so I just wanted to ask you that on this. Have
Yeah,
you ever felt like giving? Go ahead, guys. Sorry, yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say they actually have like classes. That's where I experienced, like, it's called sound bath classes, and it's just a whole bunch of instruments, and that was, it can be a little intense, but it's another just form of like further relaxation and calming the mind. So
Intense. Why?
try it out. Just because of the, like, if the very first time, if you've never like heard it before, if you've never experienced it, because sometimes it's also really loud too. Um, so it was a little tense in the beginning, but you have to calm yourself, and then once you're in tune, then it's fine. But they have classes too, if any ever wants to check it out. It's called
And
sound
men and
bath.
women participate, or is this primarily women?
Yeah, men and women participate. Yeah.
Have you ever felt like giving up, and what got you through it? Because I know you spoke on it a little bit before, but just can you elaborate a little further?
Yeah, I speak about my mental health journey and online on Instagram actually, and how I've actually been through suicide moments. And I mean, every time I've been there, I could never do it because of my child. I could never move forward because of the guilt of what it would be to leave my child behind, unfortunately. But also just realizing, reading books and going to therapy has made me realize that when mental health also runs in your family, like, that's something that also contributes to the suicide ideations, the depression, the anxiety, and so that's something that I had to realize too, because you get to a point where you've done so much work in your journey, where but then like you're still having suicidal thoughts. It's just like, okay, like, when does this end? You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't say that it never ends or it takes a while or whatever, but it has just made me realize that when you go through trauma and when you experience horrible things, your brain is rewired, right? And so obviously the work that you do continues to help, continues to help with that. But that's something to take into consideration, right? The fact that there has been trauma, there has been things that I've went through, and it's altered a state, a certain state that my brain was in, and now I'm doing the work to regain that, right? And so when I have these moments where suicidal, ideations come up, I've created a safety plan with my therapist. Like, I'm starting to realize more that it's how can I say this? Like, it's like part of, I don't want to say part of who I am, but part of my brain right now, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not that I actually want to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I actually want to you know, go forth with
Mhm.
it. It's just that life is so overbearing that you have these thoughts, and that is just kind of one of the easy way outs, right? And but then there's this other piece of you that completely knows what would happen if, the guilt, and just especially with knowing about my son, right? Especially with having my son. So I say all that to say that, like, you know I have been through a lot of things, and the mental the this part of my mental health journey is not easy, and it's not easy to talk about. It's not easy to share, but I mean, I've even gotten to the place where, to be fully transparent, where, like, I have people that I call when I am feeling suicidal, and because the thoughts just come, like it. And that's what was weird for me, because it was like I got to a point where I was good. Like, I wasn't so bad, I was good. But then I would have these thoughts, and I'm like, I don't really need these thoughts anymore. Like, why are they here? And but then it's still scary, right? Because you're just like, oh, I thought I'm doing the work, I thought something's happening, um but these thoughts are still here. And with creating the safety plan with my therapist, like, I was able to write some people down who I really, really trusted, who I really felt comfortable and safe with, and I let them know that they were on my safety plan too. Um, and thankfully, I haven't had to call them in a minute, actually, now that I think about it. And I think that's also part of the process too, is like when you able to sit back and think, like, oh, it's been a minute since I've experienced that hardship. You know what I'm saying? That's healing, that's progress, that's an accomplishment. Um, because our bodies are, when we're on the healing journey, our bodies are literally healing from the trauma, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of those things. So yeah.
I appreciate you being transparent. I appreciate you speaking on that because people look at us like, people of our nature, that we're like semi-successful in a sense, or we just put out uplifting positive vibes, but they don't know what took us to get to that point. I'll be completely transparent as well. I've had, I wouldn't say suicidal thoughts, but I had plenty of negative thoughts. Like last night, honestly, I was just thinking, like, do I really want to do this podcast thing? Do I want to continue with this clothing line thing? When my mom passed away, I had a decision to make. Was it, am I gonna utilize this trauma to just impute negativity on myself and everybody around me, or am I gonna see her again one day and have her say, "Wow, I'm proud of you." You know what I'm saying? Like, you really made it happen after my absence and things of that nature. And then I consistently faced traumatic situations. About 2 years ago, I lost my sister Kayla and my nephew, which is her son. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? At that point, I'm like, damn, not again. Like I wrote on Facebook, as soon as that happened, I'm like, I literally just digged myself out of depression. Now I'm back in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a way out. But I think it's important for people of our nature to just speak on it, because there is a way out. You may not fully be out of that hole, but you can dig yourself up out of there. And there is a positive outlook out of everything. I talk to my brother all the time. Your thoughts are powerful. Whatever you think every single day, whatever you think is what your reality is going to be. If you come into this victim negative mindset of, oh, the world sucks, life sucks, bad things are going to continue to happen, and everything's just going to, like a domino effect, continue to knock you down every single time that you try to get yourself up back up. So you just got to surround yourself with the right people, read the right material, even from social media aspect. I only follow positive people. I follow a couple of people that's negative that I grew up with and things of that nature, but I try not to interact with the stuff that they got going on. Like I follow nothing but positive mentors and just read nothing but positive quotes and memes and things of that nature. That's what I utilize my social media platform. I speak on nothing but positivity. So it's very important for people like us. That's why I created this platform for people like us that people look up to just be vulnerable and transparent and just say, hey, look, shit is not all rainbows and butterflies. Like I do have these same thoughts, but this is what I do to get up out of it. So I appreciate you speaking on that for real.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you for creating this podcast too. I mean, similar to me, that's kind of one of the reasons why I decided to share on social media. And one of my first posts in it was about my suicidal experience. Because I knew that I wasn't the only one that experienced this. Um, Unfortunately, I've been through domestic abuse. I've been through just sexual trauma. I've been through childhood trauma, violence. Like there's just a lot of shit that I've been through, and there's a lot of similar things that people in our community have been through too. And it's just like it's either we're going to start talking about it so that we can support each other, so that we can resonate with each other, so that we can be able to be in community while we heal, because we're not supposed to heal individually. Like we are supposed to come together and support each other in this journey. That's why I have the people that I have to call when I'm in those moments, because I'm telling you, if I didn't, I I really don't know. If I didn't have those people to call, even when I'm not in those moments, even if when I'm extremely sad, or to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and be like, yo, I just need a friend right now. I just need to be able to be that transparent and vulnerable with someone where I'm having a moment, I'm having a meltdown, like I need something. And to have your core people, who's going to be able to stand by and to be able to show that to the world on a platform, so that other people can then try to create that experience for themselves too. Because people are out here trying to heal by themselves, but it's so hard. It's so hard that a lot of the times we end up retreating back to our old shit, because nobody wants to help me, nobody wants to support me. Why am I gonna do this? Nobody cares about me. But a lot of the times we don't even ask for what we need. That's what we need to start doing too. Like ask for what you need. You need a hug, you need a friend to come over and just sit with you. Like a lot of the times we don't even ask because we think that people won't do it for us. But you'll be surprised how many people just want to support you. Because when I started to actually reach out and ask for support, I've had friends come over and help me clean my house because I was so depressed. Like I couldn't clean for a month, 2 months. And I was just like, yo, I just need help to clean my house. Like, and my friend was like, what? Of course, like I'll help you. No, like why you waited so long to ask? And I was like, I don't know, I didn't, because you're scared, there's a certain level of vulnerability that you have to be to enter that space, to share, right? To create this platform, to create your clothing line, like to share your story. Like there's a certain level of vulnerability that you have to have, but it's so important because we have to do this as a community. Like we're not meant to do this shit alone. We're not. So
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate you for creating this
I
platform.
appreciate you as well. I appreciate you for participating. Real quick, what are you currently working on? No, what are you working on for the future? Like what do you have in your mind that you want to get done for the future?
Well, I want to fully just, go full throttle into birth work. I still have my 9 to 5 right now, which is cute and all, but I'm ready to venture out and work for myself. And so that's the goal. I want to one day be a midwife, and
What is that?
actually a midwife. So a midwife is a medical provider that can provide additional support too. So it's like a doula, but they provide the medical aspect of the labor. Um, so midwives actually were the ones that were supporting labor back in the days before the hospital came and took over. But yeah, so I'm a real big believer in just going back to our traditions, going back to, the ways our ancestors used to live as natural as possible. So yeah, so my aim, my goal is to become a midwife, to open up a birthing center to support um, Black and Brown people of color in this space, to be able to have the birth of their choice, as safe, as comfortable as possible, and yeah, that's really it. I'm really passionate about this birth work, and advocating, for our community to have the birthing experience that they truly desire, need, and want.
What advice would you give to a young mother at this time that's thinking negative thoughts and not understanding what to do with the next aspect of their life?
I would say lean in for support. I would say, do all the research, and the internet is great. Like, one thing that we have that our parents didn't, our grandparents didn't, is the internet. So definitely use it, whether that's to access classes, resources. There's also so many free things that you can have access to. Feel free to reach out to me at Sacred Labor of Love. I have a whole bunch of resources for free stuff as well. The organizations that I've worked with, that I'm familiar with, also provide free stuff. But just, and providing yourself some grace. I think that it's important for us to continuously remind ourselves that even though, when life gets hard and things may be difficult, like, you are still bringing, you're able to bring a beautiful life into this world. And there is hope and support out there. And just lean into it. Like, I promise, whether it's family, friends, communities, organizations, I promise there's somebody wanting to help you.
Ashley, I appreciate you taking the time out to meet with me today. Words can't express my gratitude. I feel like you dropped a lot of gems, a lot of knowledge, a lot of information on here that people could pretty much utilize. I learned a lot, honestly, from this segment, so I definitely appreciate you, and hopefully we could collab somewhere down the line.
Of
Um,
course. I'm so down. I'm so ready to. So let me know.
got you for sure, but definitely appreciate you, Ashley. I know a lot of people going to definitely appreciate this segment right here,
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
for sure, for sure. And thank you for everybody that's going to tune into this episode. We're going to continue putting out high uplifting conversations. Just grateful for everybody that's supporting me, for sure. And I just want to close out this segment by just saying practice self love, teach peace, and just respect your passion and just go for what you believe in. Peace, y'all.